Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is episode 55 of Those Muckrakers. Welcome. I'm Pete.
And I'm Pat.
And I've had a lot to drink today because the news made me very upset.
So I'm trying to compensate by drinking a lot of coffee because I don't have liquor here.
I'm to the point now where, I can't look at the president or hear him speak without getting mad.
Look, what you gotta do is just understand that we're gonna have a wall and it's gonna be tremendous. Everyone's saying so.
I guess we should start with probably the most inconsequential news. Because I pull a bunch of news from Fox News. And the headline is Alexandria OcasioCortez faces questions after her boyfriend gets a congressional email account. So we're all the way back to butter fucking emails.
Seriously? Okay, first of all, fucking Trump has been giving his family security clearance that they should not have, private email servers that they should not have. Private, mind you, the exact same thing that Hillary had, and so they scrub them and destroy them as soon as they're asked for the emails, as soon as they're asked to hand them all over. Trump actually has a serious security breach, and the people that he's given security clearances to have ties to Russia, so he's probably been funneling U.S. secrets to Russia for a long time now. But Ocasio-Cortez does something with the emails, and they're like, buttery mails!
In the interests of fair and balanced podcast reporting, it's actually not unusual to give a family member or a spouse or a close person a secure email so that they can be in sync with your calendar and stuff like that. That's not weird. That happens all the time. I've been watching. You've never seen The Wire, right?
I have not. That is correct.
The best realistic detective show in the world. And it's kind of like when they don't have a case and I see stuff like this, I want to go, you got nothing! You got nothing, you sons of bitches. It just irritates me that that's fucking news. Like, people are going to jail and are like, but she used an email account. Go fuck yourself.
So, are you ready to get, really mad?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about CNN's Jim Acosta before I get too mad.
Jim Acosta? What's he doing?
God bless Jim Acosta. If you don't remember Jim Acosta, he was a reporter that the White House tried to revoke his credentials for because he dared question the president. So they determined, but in court you can't do that. So he's back, and he's asking,
very unfair. Kim Jong-un says that he revokes anyone's license that he wants. He can choose who records him. Why can't I do what North Korea does? Okay, sad.
So he basically just kind of asked the president about manufacturing a crisis at the border, right? Mm-hmm. And so Trump says, quote, do you really believe that stat? Take a look at our federal prisons. And Trump was trying to say that our federal prisons are full of illegal immigrants, right? It just so happens, okay. I pulled up, so Trump says that our federal prisons are full of illegal immigrants, and it's all illegal immigrants, right? Well, being the stand-up guy that I am, I went ahead to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and I pulled up inmate citizenship, last updated Saturday, January 26, 2019, and it turns out that 80% of inmates in the United States federal prison system are from the United States.
Okay, sad.
80%. 12% are from Mexico. 4.9% are from unknown. 0.8% are from the Dominican Republic, 0.7% are from Cuba, and 0.9% are from Colombia. So the president told Jim Acosta, he goes, that's not true, that's a lie, you're CNN, you're fake news. And I go, well, the fucking Bureau of Prisons, jackass, in the words of Murray, determined that the things that you said were determined to be a lie. You are the father. But it just annoys me that, a man lies like that, and scolds a reporter, and then I can just pull up the statistic and go, no, the reporter's right.
Yeah, I mean, Trump doesn't know anything, and he just says whatever he thinks is the best thing to say at the time. And it's like he accurately believes that his followers will just believe whatever he says regardless of what the reality is. But does he really think that he has enough followers to keep him in power? Like, does he think that he can just keep
Well,
his base and no one else can still...
remember he's surrounded by the good news crew. They don't tell him anything bad about himself, right?
That was true for the first 6, 7, 8, 9 months of his presidency, but I think a lot of those people have started to leave, haven't they?
But he's also said that he lies because it plays well on TV, right? And he has no repercussions for lying.
Yeah, he has zero repercussions for lying, but look, people don't seem to understand. I know that like the other side might lie every once in a while. All politicians lie. Trump lies orders of magnitudes more than every other politician combined. We have never seen anything like this before. He had 6,000 unique lies last year alone. Unique lies. Whenever he repeats them, which he often does, the number of times he lies is over the goddamn moon.
Well, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but there's a news story right now about a man who choked a mountain lion to death to survive. And I was just like, I'm thinking about this news story, and I go, imagine if you changed the term mountain lion to President Trump.
I winced whenever you talked about a guy killing a mountain lion earlier, because earlier this week, Trump retweeted like a big game hunter killing a big cat. Yeah. So I was worried that it would be another story like that, of just some asshole going and killing a large, majestic creature for no reason and then posing next to it with this giant gun saying, look what I did, I shot this kitty. But
no,
your story is, an actual battle of survival, totally different. Yeah, where a guy was just like out there hiking when a mountain lion felt like showing up and attacking him.
Yeah, he's basically jogging and a mountain lion jumped on him and he's like, and I had to choke it. But as I read the story, I go, imagine if
the guy didn't, choke it safely from 30 feet away with a rifle. He had to be right in front of it. He walked away with lacerations everywhere.
But I read this and I'm just to the point now where I go, I wish instead of mountain lion it said President Trump. Man chokes President Trump to survive. A man who fended off and suffocated President Trump when he attacked him on a Colorado jogging trail by stepping on Trump's throat during a life and death struggle. Oh God! Is that over the line? Do we have to edit that out because I made a threat against the president?
Possibly. I mean, you're not directly saying I wish I could choke him, but you're saying you wish he was choked. So there's kind of a gray area there, and I think it would be enough to get us thrown in Guantanamo.
Well, there's a really great quote here where the guy says, "I was really bummed to see President Trump." He said that President Trump pounced and locked his jaws on my right wrist and clawed at my face. He attempted to halt the attack by stabbing President Trump with sticks and hitting Trump on the head with a rock, but to no avail. Ultimately, he was able to pin President Trump down and put his foot on his neck and choke Trump until he stopped thrashing.
No, he didn't do that. In fact, I choked him. That's what happened there. And then, what's that woman's name from Fox News? Judge Jeanine? Judge Jeanine would come out and she'd be like, he did not lose to that jogger! He used strategic use of not breathing!
The man said he was worried during the struggle that Judge Jeanine Pirro would come along and join the tussle. He says his fear was turned into more of a fight response. Trump is native to the Americas, where his range extends from Canada to the tip of South America, according to the National Wildlife Federation.
So, speaking of humans choking, by which I mean speaking of human suffering, are you ready to hear about who's profiting off of human suffering today?
God, who's profiting?
Do you remember the thousands of kidnapped children at the southern border thrown in baby cages?
Yeah, and then they were just like, yeah, we don't know whose kids these are.
Right, we don't have any system in place to actually reunite them with their parents. They tried to lie and say almost all of them has been returned. Almost none of them have. And the ones that have been returned, a lot of them are fucking traumatized. Like, this is serious life-changing shit that they put these children through.
There was a news story about...
Some of them are dying now, by the way. Some of them are dying in their little baby cages because they get sick and die.
Well, there was another story about a lady who they gave a kid back, and she goes, yeah, this isn't my kid. And they were like, oopsie daisy.
But I'm keeping this one too. Now also find mine. But so some of these children in the baby cages are starting to be funneled into adoption agencies at this point, right? They're starting to be funneled into foster houses to hold on to them. But here's the fun fact: these adoption agencies are they have heavy financial ties with Betsy DeVos. Betsy DeVos is using human suffering to profiteer off of.
Yeah, well, she's the one that wants school choice because, and so I heard this the other day, and this made me really mad, especially someone who teaches. There's a news story about Cory Booker, former mayor of Newark, who's a presidential Democratic nominee hopeful. So they were talking about how he did a big education thing, and we saw modest gains in education in Newark, and they go, but the shining star was charter schools. And I go, all right, so here's the thing about charter schools. It's not like a public school, right? If you want to get into a charter school, you have to test in, and they have to accept you, right?
Right.
So, of course, the scores for charter schools look great when you get to screen out all the kids that you don't want.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with
it's
that
like,
is...
of course, you have the upper grades if you have to have the upper grades to get in.
The problem with that is, if you're a private school, do whatever the fuck you want. Fuck you. But if you're taking public money, if you're taking everyone's money, then you should have to take everyone's kids. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
That should just be how it is. Like, you don't get to pick all your students.
And that's why Betsy DeVos wants to funnel all the money out of public schools and pour it all into these private schools. But they're not really private if they're accepting government money.
Exactly. So the problem with these schools is basically, if you don't have the money and you're not awesome, it'll basically just leave the public schools into even more of a problem than they already are, and you'll funnel off anybody that has the money or the ability to get into a charter school. And it's bullshit, because it's the same way when we pay into everything, right? If you want my tax dollars for your education, then you have to take my kids as well as your kids. If you want my tax dollars for roads and infrastructure, then we are all allowed to drive on those roads and use that infrastructure.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. And I understand why people that have kids want to send their kids to charter schools, because they seem like better schools. But the problem is, if there were no charter schools, if there was only the public option and the private option, then public schools would have to get better, right? If you took that money away from charter schools and said, hey, guess what? All your fucking money is going to go to the public schools because they're going to get better. They have to. And then if all those people that were trying to pull their kids out had to send them to the same schools everywhere else, and those schools would get better.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I get really mad when it comes to educational stuff. It's fucking dumb.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also a problem that feeds into itself, like a negative feedback loop, where if you're draining money out of the public school system, then that means the kids have less supplies, they have less stuff to work with, less ways to learn, and so their grades can't possibly compete with the public schools, and so the public schools keep going up because they have all the funding, and private schools keep going down, their scores keep going down because they don't have any money.
Well, it's the same idea that I think a lot of schools, I'm trying to find out if this is true, but I believe it is. But like,
do you want me to talk about the next news story while you look that up, or?
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up, man, because I'm trying to make sure I'm right about this.
This is just like a side note thing. Oh, did you find it?
I just got it. Yeah. Basically, schools funding is reliant on the property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you live in a shit neighborhood, you're going to go to a shit school because your school's funded by the property values around your school.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yar.
How is that fair?
No. Is that considerate? Is that polite? And not a tube of preparation H insight. 10 points to any viewer that catches that reference.
Well, if we get off the schools for a minute, there's another great thing that's happening, but it's also really bad. And I'm finally bringing back Pete's Science Corner.
Ooh. Let me do my news story first, and then we'll do Pete's Science Corner.
All right, do your news story.
All right. So this is just fun. Beto, whoever, what's his full name? Beto
ORourke.
ORourke, is that it? Yeah, from Texas.
You know how I know that we're terrible people?
How's that?
We can remember a white guy whose name is Beto ORourke, but we struggle and stumble over OcasioCortez's name constantly.
Notorious AOC.
Yet we want to be her official podcast. We're assholes. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Yep. So Trump and Beto O'Rourke compare dick sizes this week whenever they both had a rally at the same time in Texas, and Beto won by a mile and even though Trump went out there and lied and said we had 70,000 RSVPs and 35,000 in attendance and 8,000 stretching in lines outside. Well, the El Paso Fire Department put him in his place whenever they pointed out that the area he was in could hold a maximum of 6,500 people, and from screenshots you could see plenty of empty aisles and seats, so it wasn't even at capacity.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll throw another thing your way. he's lied about crowd sizes since the beginning of his presidency.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he lies about fucking everything. He literally lied about whether or not it was raining whenever he gave his inauguration speech.
But more importantly than being infuriating, that's the scary thing, is if you can lie about the fucking weather and people believe you, what else can you get away with?
It's all the shadow government. But, meanwhile, Trump claimed that Beto O'Rourke had a crowd size of only about 200 people. And police have estimated that Beto's crowd was actually around 15,000 people, more than double what Trump had.
Remember, you don't need all the support of all the people. You just need enough power to seize the government in a coup. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's true. Because he certainly wouldn't be able to win through votes, because even though he had the vast majority of people, he was winning by 2/3, but you need like a good 80% of the votes to win as a Democrat in Texas, because they've gerrymandered the fuck out of it.
Well, I mean, like, that was the amazing thing about Beto, is he came very close to unseating a
fucking
just
blobfish.
Yeah,
what's his face?
Tried and true Republican candidate in the middle of the heart of Republican country. So,
yeah.
I do think that Beto is going to be a good presidential candidate, but I'm going to be pissed if the Democrats do what they always do, which is just like,
fumble.
Oh no, we're near the finish line. Let's drop the ball and shoot ourselves in the foot.
Let's drop the ball and trip over our own horse stick.
I still stand by. If Hillary runs again for the Democratic primary, we're going to keep doing this podcast, but all I'm going to talk about is puppies.
I would be scared shitless if it was Trump and Hillary running against each other again. Full disclosure, I want Hillary to be president more than anyone, because for a number of reasons. For one, she's delightful. For two, it would trigger the shit out of all the people that Buttery mailed for the last 2 years. 3 years?
It
4?
would, but I think all she can do is hurt the Democratic ticket. I don't think she
yeah,
can win
but
it
that's why at the end of the day, what I'm more scared of is her winning and then Fox News having an easy outlet to attack the Dems on for the next 4 years after that, and then sweeping the House and Senate again because they'd have a unified talking point.
Right.
Which
yeah,
is
and they can...
Buttery.
That's why Beto,
Buttery Mells.
That's why Beto needs to run and win. I think he could handily beat Trump. He's already shown he could almost win in Texas, which is a crazy uphill battle.
I think damn near anyone could beat Trump.
Except for Hillary.
I mean, that was the Russians stealing the election. But,
that's true, too. Even with Hillary, he still won only because of the Russians.
And because of the... he still lost by 3 to 5 million votes, but, again, the whole system's rigged.
He's also the only person I've never physically met that I absolutely hate.
Yeah. I mean, you told the mountain lion story about him, which if I cut that out, no one's going to know what I'm talking about now, but...
That's true. So if we do end up cutting the mountain lion story, guys, just know that I may have said some things that could get me looked at by the Secret Service. Although at this point, let's be fair, how hard is the Secret Service actually working?
Well, A, and B, no one listens to this podcast. I mean, unless Wesley tells on us, we're good to go. And Wesley? Bad Wesley. Don't tell.
That's true. I'm just wondering, like, 30 years down the road when we're running for office, they're like, did you have a podcast where you threatened the life of a president? And I'm like, it came back. I'm just going to be like, at least it wasn't blackface, am I right?
Then we, high five awkwardly.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. The next thing I have is something that's completely dated, which is my guessing that Trump might just, shut down the government over the new budget deal. But
nope, the budget's going to pass, but now he's going to declare a national emergency.
That will definitely be our big news story for the night. But did you have anything else you wanted to say before that?
Yeah, I want to tell you about the Speed Science Corner here, and actually, you're going to be really happy about it. I think you're going to be really glad with this. It's going to be great.
Okay.
Insects around the world, Patrick, are in crisis. According to a small but growing number of long-term studies showing dramatic decline in invertebrate populations. A new report suggests that the problem is more widespread than scientists realized. Huge numbers of bugs have been lost in a pristine national forest in Puerto Rico, the study found. The forest insect-eating animals have gone missing, too. So basically, we're seeing a huge die-off of bugs.
I mean, I can tell you this, and this is almost as good as a promise. I'm not quite sure if I'll promise it, but close to promise you this. That if all the fucking black bugs and mosquitoes die out, I'll walk the Appalachian Trail again. No sweat.
I mean, you may have any choice.
I hope that the ticks die too, but I'll take what I can get.
A study last year showed that 76% decrease in flying insects over a few decades in these German nature preserves. So the point is, insects are fucking dying off. Which I know you're super excited about. The problem is, for nature, that means that everything that depends on insects for pollination and food are also going to die, which means that we're also going to die.
We just got to change our diet so that we don't need to eat any plants or food.
At least this week I've been sick, so I already am kind of on that diet.
Well, I mean, you're halfway there.
Yeah. But that's a huge thing, man. Like, if the fucking bugs are dying, there's that old joke like, cockroaches will still be here after we nuke each other. Well, maybe not.
We'll outlive all the cockroaches. Sweet.
But no, it's a really big thing. Like, bugs are dying, and they're a huge part of the food chain. So if bugs die off, we are fucked. And it's huge too, man. Like, they're dying off in massive numbers.
So this week they did have like a budget that was going to go forward that offered like 1.3 billion for 55 miles of fencing, which I know 55 miles is not 2,000 miles, and fencing is not a big, beautiful 30-foot tall, 20 feet thick wall made of concrete. A wall, okay, not a fence. That's what he promised, but all the same, I don't want him to get shit. I don't want him to get not one fucking red cent for his wall, and they were still going to offer him $1 billion anyway. And the petulant child is going to sign the thing so that he can get that. And look, I've been watching how people have reacted to this as the week progressed. Now it's all obsolete now because we know we signed it and then called the national emergency anyway. But before we knew that, I was watching Fox News do their self-imposed gag order where they were trying their best not to talk about it, hoping that he would just go ahead and sign it and that the government wouldn't shut down again. But then people like Lumpy the Grumpy decided to start whining, and Ann Coulter decided to start whining, and everyone started telling Trump basically directly, don't fall for it, don't sign it, don't sign it. Well, he didn't listen to him and he signed it anyway, and now he's just doing his national emergency because he thinks he can have his cake and eat it too.
Well, what scares me about the national emergency, besides the obvious of like one man being able to seek ultimate power for a made-up crisis, is that like McConnell's behind it. Like, McConnell is like begrudgingly like, well, Davey, I guess that
publicly.
Yeah.
Publicly he is. There's got to have so many thoughts about this national emergency. First of all, we all know the irony of while he was giving his speech saying that he's going to enact the national emergency, he said that he really didn't want to do it and he didn't have to do it. He just thinks that it's faster this way. Ergo, it's not a fucking emergency. Point number 2, you know what he's doing this weekend?
He's going to Mar-a-Lago. As soon as he signs a national emergency, he's
badass to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah. Yep. Well, which is weird because he just spent, was it $550,000 to install a golf simulator in the White House?
Yeah, he because he can't get out of the White House and go golfing enough, which he does it almost all the fucking time. He put golf in the White House.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute. If I'm the president, right?
Right.
And I got protesters out all the time, and I want to go play golf, but I have to stay at the White House. You know what I'm going to do?
Install golf at the White House.
No, I'm not going to install golf at the White House. I got protesters. I got a White House lawn. I got Secret Service.
Just hit golf balls at the crowd?
Yes! I'm going to put a driving range on the lawn, and I'm just going to drive fucking golf balls at anybody in my way.
That would, yeah. Why not?
This goes back to my fundamental problem with people who seize power and are ultra rich. They have no imagination, and they are fucking boring.
Yeah, but still,
Trump Tower could have looked like a giant penis. He could have put a dick-shaped tower in the middle of New York if he'd wanted to. Why not?
I mean, at this point, who's going to stop him? Like, they might have tried to pass indecency laws about it back then, but I mean, all he has to do is just have his lawyers tie them up in court, and they'll never be able to push the lawsuit through.
Speaking
of Trump getting his way,
I just wanted to talk about a golf simulator for a minute. What do you need to simulate golf? It's the most boring sport in the world. Like, You're the worst person to own. Remember when the Wii came out and you had like Wii Sports?
Yeah.
He's the kind of boring asshole that would be like, come on, man, let's play Frisbee golf. Why the fuck would I want to buy a Wii and then play Frisbee golf? You fucking unimaginative motherfucker.
Yep. What you gotta do is get the bowling simulator for Wii Sports.
Look, at the very least, if I had the White House and I had all the funds of a president, you know what I'm putting in? I'm putting in an Oculus Rift, and I'm getting the absolute latest, beta-tested, most up-to the fucking point version of Call of Duty or something cool, and I'm going to get my Secret Service to play with me.
Yeah, get one of those, what do you call it, things that you can hook yourself up to so you can actually run around inside the game. That way you can get your exercise, too.
Or even fuck that. I'm going to give all my Secret Service guys paintball guns, and we're going to play paintball in the White House.
That would be fun.
You can do anything! You're the goddamn president!
So speaking of the president being able to do anything, it's just the scariest part about what he's doing with the national emergency is that he is becoming a dictator because he is ignoring the co-equal branches of government.
Exactly. If Congress doesn't give you the money, then you can't get the money. That's it. That's it. That's all it is.
They should be equal to the president, but he's just He's overruling them. He is overruling them and saying, no, what we're going to do is what I want to do. And that also, I mean, of course, the Supreme Court and which he rigged, he stacked it in his favor at this point. So who knows? They might roll in his favor. But other courts are going to challenge it. The Department of Justice is going to challenge it.
Well, he's already having Republicans in the Senate peel off because the House is stacked against him, but he's already losing support in the Senate. So I don't think this is gonna fly. I think that Congress is gonna override it. If they don't,
they will.
If they don't override it, it's because Mitch McConnell just pulled out a gun and just goes, "If any one of you motherfuckers fucks with me, I'm gonna put a bullet in your head. Now fucking step in line."
I mean, it could happen, but I think Mitch McConnell's against it. I really do.
He's apparently they found out he's getting a ton of money from a Russian oligarch, so who fucking knows?
The fun thing about that is that the oligarch he's getting money from, he granted that guy dual citizenship, so now it's legal.
Yeah, of course. But
Mitch McConnell's not what do you call it? He's a slippery little bastard. He learned how to break the law legally.
Yeah. So in other good news, this is kind of local good news for me, but in New York, in Queens, Amazon was going to put their new second headquarters, their HQ2, and it was going to bring a bunch of jobs to New York, right? And everyone was like, "Oh, Amazon's coming to New York. It's going to be a great provider," right?
Right.
They're not coming anymore. New York locals managed to fight them and say, "No, fuck you," because the mayor and the governor were going to so Amazon held this, I don't know if you've been following this, Amazon held this big thing. They made a bunch of cities jump through hoops and going, who's going to give us the best deal for us to put our headquarters in your city? And so New York was going to give Amazon $3 billion in tax breaks for putting their headquarters here.
Mm-hmm.
And enough people were like, fuck you, no, we don't want your shitty jobs. Because that's the thing. It's going to give jobs, but if you followed anything about Amazon, it's just like, it's very robber baron turn of the century, just like, excuse me, sir, can I take a pee break? Get back to work, I'll have you shot.
Yeah, I saw the South Park two-parter about working at Amazon. It opened with the song "You Load 16 Tons, Why Do You Get Another Day Older and Deeper in Debt?" And it showed people working at Amazon packing boxes, and they come home and they use the money they made from packing boxes at Amazon to order things off Amazon, and and that way it makes sense whenever the song says, "Oh, my soul to the company store."
Yeah. Which I feel bad because I just ordered something off of Amazon before this podcast started, but fuck you and your shitty jobs. Again, Jeff Bezos, another boring as fuck billionaire. Like, you have the money. Do something interesting with it. Anyway, but New York got this deal canceled, and good. Fuck those jobs. Those are shitty jobs. That's a shitty... Why are you giving Amazon any tax breaks?
But because they're rich, and rich people want more money. Because it's not enough to have all of the money in the world. You have to have all of the money in the world. If there's even one more red cent you can squeeze out of the citizens, you do it.
It's kind of like, the other day, and sometimes the most enlightened people I run into in the world are students, high school students. One of them the other day said, we were talking about the end of the Civil War, and how, like we'd ended slavery, and then there was a huge backlash in the South where they passed all these Jim Crow laws and basically, okay, yeah, you're free, but you don't get to vote. You don't get to go here. You have to drink from separate water fountains. And one of my kids goes, man, why are white people so salty? It's like, y'all don't not only want anybody else to be free, but y'all don't want anybody else to have any rights either. What the fuck? And I go, yeah, man, you're right. I don't know, but you're right. Like, yeah, why are white people so salty? Maybe we can turn that into an essay assignment. But I feel that way about rich people. It's like Bezos, for instance. You're the richest man in the world. What else is there but to get crazy with it?
I don't know. But speaking of getting crazy with it, there are... I wasn't quite done with the national emergency yet, because I wanted to state why I think him declaring a national emergency is a good thing. And I believe that twofold reasons. There is... Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Anyway, so... I
was waiting for you to continue.
There are two reasons why I believe Trump declaring the national emergency is going to be good, actually. A, it helps the narrative that he is a fucking dictator that absolutely does not care what other people want. He just wants to be king of America. It feeds into that narrative. It lets us show people, it's like, look, he's a fucking tyrant. We are right about that, and we have been right about that all along. Look at him try to sidestep Congress. That's one. Two, if he succeeds at all, A, we're just going to tear the wall back down anyway as soon as the next Democrat takes over, and B, it sets the precedent that every president can just declare a national emergency for whatever the fuck they want, whether it's an emergency or not. Because what one president can do, every president after them can do.
It's kind of like the Ouija board. Once you open a door to the other side, anything can come through.
Yep. So the next president can declare a national emergency for gun control and just take all the guns, right? Like, fuck it, we got to get rid of all the guns. There's too many kids getting shot.
The next president can declare a national Jewish emergency and round up all the Jews. And
yeah, we might, if we elect another Republican president, things could just keep getting worse.
Yeah.
But we can declare national emergency for gun control. We can declare it for global warming, and
we should be declaring a national emergency for global warming.
A national emergency for health care. Actually, get people taken care of again. There's so many good things that we can do with it, and the Republicans are going to shriek and shrill and bitch about it. But fuck it, they're the ones that let this happen. So fuck.
We can do things with it, but the problem is, I don't care what it is. It's a very dangerous step to take. And as dumb as it sounds, the fucking, the millionaire president should at least have to ask all the other millionaires in Congress before he does anything.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's about all the Trump news we have for this week. We have some Hukka Sanders news, kind of.
Oh, I was about to say, I think that's all the news we have for this week.
I have, like, a list of, like, little bullet points. For Hukka Sanders, she has had to testify for Mueller. That just recently came out. And so she had to sit down under oath and testify. Now, Hukka Sanders is famous for being the mouth of Sauron, right? She's Little Miss what he meant to say was. She speaks for the president, and she says many lies to the American people.
Very much like, if you all lay down your arms, the great and merciful eye of Sauron will let you live as slaves in the dungeons.
Yep.
Praise his name.
What are the odds that she didn't lie during her testimony to Mueller? If she lied, she's going to prison. So she might go to prison. Yay.
Well, actually, I don't know how smart she is, because what you say in public is very different from what you say under oath with the FBI. Also, that Mueller thing is supposed to be wrapping up soon, and I'm like, can we please get a season finale?
We got a few more notes about that. Fucking Manafort is totally screwed now. The ruling
they took his deal away because Manafort they were like, you're lying, you're
we said fucked. We said that was going to happen a long time ago, but finally, us seeing what's going to happen happened, and the judge ruled that he breached his plea deal. Which what that means is that he loses all of the benefits from pleading out, but all of the pleading guilty that he did, he's still guilty for everything. He's still guilty on all accounts. He just gets none of the benefits.
What show was that? Where he's like, you go to hell, and you die. You hear me?
That was Mr. Garrison on South Park.
That's how I feel about everybody that's being indicted right now. I'm like, you go to hell, and you die. You hear me?
Yep. And let's see. Roger Stone got hit with a gag order. He is apparently a link that directly ties him and Russia has been clearly established. Like the documents from that are out there and everything. All they have to do now is just say that Trump knew anything about it, and that's direct evidence of collusion down legally. And they might have that because they gagged him. So now Roger Stone is not allowed to talk about his case publicly anymore. So all those little news stories of Roger Stone saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm Mr. Macy's, look at me," as he goes on the news and flails around, he can't do that anymore because if he talks about the case, he's in breach of the gag order.
Well, he had that video where he was like, "Oh no, I'm drinking Russian vodka. Arrest me, fucking libtards." Well, now you're fucking under arrest, so see how that fits, you asshole.
Yep.
Look, if you're gonna do crime, cool. Be a criminal. If you're gonna be stupid, great. Be stupid. If you're gonna be glib, be glib. But don't be a stupid criminal who's also smarmy and glib about being a stupid criminal.
Yep.
Like, I hate that combination more than anything. People that are stupid, mean, and smug about it.
That really is. Whenever we, spoiler alerts for the audience, we're going to write a detective story soon. And whenever we do that, we definitely got to make sure that the main villain is mean, smug, and stupid. Just so that the reader hates them with all their might.
Well, you wanted to do that. I wanted to write like a believable, sympathetic villain like Walter White.
You think so? All right, we can do that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have... That's my whole mantra with writing is based on this song called "We Get Pussy with a Personality." But in my head, I've changed it to like, we write villains with a personality, because I really hate it when I read a narrative and you're like, this villain has no personality, like our president.
Well, I mean, I've written like 250 books, so I mean, there's certainly room in my life to write both kinds.
Listen.
Both sides, Peter. Okay, many sides.
I've seen a lot of like dictators give speeches and stuff, and I gotta say, like, look, I'm not giving any props to Hitler, but like, I don't even know what he's saying, but the man gives a hell of a speech. His fucking hair is flopping around everywhere. You know what I mean?
As he slams his fist down on the
fucking Mussolini. What an asshole! But like, what a charismatic dude. Like, Mussolini's a piece of shit, but you're just like, you know what? I could see him being the coolest guy in a bar before he has us all shot.
Maybe. But then there's like Trump, who's just sitting there sniffling and sweating.
He breathes like a fucking pug. If you've ever one of those dogs with a pushed-in nose, it drives me crazy.
And he is, I mean, I hate everything about him, of course, but also he doesn't seem charismatic to me. He seems like someone that can't even string a sentence together well, and he makes up words constantly.
I hate him.
And how does anyone find him charismatic? How does anyone find him appealing?
I hate him the way,
how do smart people look at him and not realize that he's a stupid sack of shit? Because I know smart people that actually like Trump.
There's a documentary series called The Secret History of the Ku Klux Klan, and one of their guys is giving a speech, and he's talking about, like, you know, we hate black people, and we hate Jews, we hate them because of this, and we hate them because they stink, and we hate them because they exist. That's almost the way I feel about the president right now. I'm like, I hate him because he sniffles weird. I hate him because he exists.
Well, I mean, I don't hate his existence for existing. I hate his existence because he's making so many people's lives miserable. Like the thousands and thousands of people who died in Puerto Rico because he wouldn't help them out. And now he's kicking them while he's down by stripping the money away from any sort of rescue efforts that could possibly go to helping any of the survivors for a stupid goddamn monument to white supremacy at the border.
Oh,
I hate him for stuff like that, and the baby cages, which his folks are profiteering off.
There's a really, really great Fox opinion piece that's titled "Trump's emergency declaration is legal and needed to protect America. Here's why." And I'm never going to read it, but I feel like I could probably sum it up with like, immigrants are scary.
Yeah, brown people, boo.
They're trying to change it though now to stop human trafficking and all this. When everybody's been like,
of course they're trying to spin it.
Yeah, most of that shit comes from like the legalized ports of entry. So like, yeah, if you want to crack down on that stuff, absolutely. Nobody thinks that like human trafficking is good and that like drug traffickers are good. Absolutely. Like,
But maybe we should focus on where it's happening and not just build up a wall in the middle of a desert somewhere.
Speaking of drug traffickers, did you hear the drug news recently?
No.
El Chapo.
Chapo, yeah, I did hear about that.
He got convicted on like all counts, and he's going to jail for probably ever. And
until he escapes again.
Well, what I don't know, he escaped from Mexican jail, and let's be fair, Mexican jail is probably not that hard to escape from.
He escaped from Mexican jail twice.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have a lot of money, but the money I do have, I could probably escape from Mexican jail. I just give the guard $10 and go, hey, I'm gonna go out here. See you later. But what I don't understand, again, this is my whole theme tonight. Why are rich people boring? You're the head of a drug cartel. Why don't you blow up the courtroom and fly away in a jetpack? Yeah, it seems crazy, but you got El Chapo money. Why not?
Yeah, fuck it. Just go for it.
I'm just saying, like, I think I would be an amazing rich person. I'd be an even more amazing criminal. Because by the time I had made it to the top of a drug empire, I got no conscience left. I'm just going to become the fucking Joker.
So between that and the lion story, do you want the top bunk or the bottom bunk in Guantanamo?
I'm just saying, if I was a criminal and I was in jail and I had El Chapo money, I'd be like, who's that judge's family? Yeah, why don't you just go ahead and blow them up? Also, blow up the judge too. And when they get another judge, blow him up, right?
Would you like to hear about how I got these scars? I tore my mouth open screaming about Trump. He was so stupid and smarmy.
But I don't understand why he's going to prison. I'm like, you could do a crazy helicopter jetpack getaway. It doesn't seem like that'd be hard. Hell, all right, here's my escape story. You ready for this?
Yes.
I'm El Chapo, right? I'm a drug kingpin. They're taking me to the court to stand trial. You know what I do? I scour the countryside and I hire 200 body lookalikes with the same haircut, clothes, and handcuffs I got on, right?
Right.
And I create a diversion and then I flood the streets with lookalikes.
That would
running
be
every which way.
Oh my God, that's so going in the stories we write.
I'm just saying.
Book one, the criminal's gonna get away by flooding the streets with lookalikes.
Why not? By the time they fucking arrest 200 people, you got a good chance of getting away.
Yep.
I'm just throwing it out there. You got money, man. Get inventive.
And I mean, flash mobs aren't illegal. Now, clearly they were helping you get away, but are the police really going to take the time to prosecute them? No, they'll probably all walk that night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they all get paid and they get to go home. Yeah, that sounds like a great deal to them.
I'm just saying, man, if you are a criminal, what you need to do is you need to hire me as a life coach. I got your back. There's going to be some cool stuff in your future.
All right, so it's settled. Horse Sticks Mariotti is going to be flooding the street with lookalikes. Awesome.
I really like that we start our podcast after talking for about half an hour and everyone's like, what the fuck is he talking about? The detective series we're going to write, after a while, we're going to write a series about a horse detective, and we're just going to call him Horse Dick.
Well, we're not actually, he's not actually going to be a horse detective, but for now, that's just what we've been kicking around. Because it sounded funny at the time.
The point being, rich people are boring, man.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard is it to hire escape artists and get them put in the cell with you, and then use them to escape? I mean, God, there's so many ways you could just do cool stuff.
Yep. Oh my God, we still have another 10 minutes of airtime to fill. Okay, Trump really needs to be more of an asshole because I've got nothing.
No, I mean basically if he gets declares a national emergency, it's very close to the end of democracy.
Well, I mean, it's been being since Russia was able to determine who our president is. So the next time we talk about abolishing the what do you call it? The fucking electoral college, and anyone says, why should California get to decide who our president is? Just retort, well, why should Russia get to decide who our president is, huh?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just, no matter what your politics are, no matter who you are, no matter what you think, we can all agree that the danger of putting ultimate power into the hands of one man is that we're all, I mean, hell, you just saw what would happen if I had infinite power. I'd fly away after blowing up a bunch of judges in a jetpack. I shouldn't have sole power over a country. It's not good. Human nature is too tempting to abuse that.
Yep. And that's why Trump should not be king of America, is the point we're trying to get to here. But Fox News really wants him to be.
And that's the way the news goes.
That's the way, I like it.
Well, I guess we can roll it here, because that's pretty much our show for today.
Sounds good to me.
Fucking assholes.
So everyone, start saving up now. Our book's going to cost like $3, so you're going to want to buy that as soon as it's out there in the world.
Also, do you want to plug your books again while we're plugging books, since you have several
sure.
Kindle books that people can buy, and tell them how to buy them?
Yeah. It's by author W.P. Thrift. You can find them on Amazon. They're digital only, for Kindle only. It's the Everyone's Legend series. There's like 7, 8, 9 in that. There's a few other books I've released into the wild. I released them under various names, so forget those. Just focus on Everyone's Legend. Buy those and you'll enjoy it. And if you'd like to contact me, you can do so at Atlantis Armstrong on Twitter. That's LANTISARMSTRONG. From there, I can direct you to other content that I've made. And also check out Sheep Eater. I just finished it this week after 3 years.
Does Wesley have a new series up that we want to plug?
He hasn't released anything yet. He was working on the program to make it, but his computer's not good enough to run the program. So we're going to have to, with our fat book money from writing detective stories, we've got to buy Wesley a new computer so we can get more, Binky and the Brain Bot.
I guess so, yeah. I don't really have anything to plug. I haven't done anything creative in a long time.
Yeah, so at my YouTube channel, you can check out the Sheep Eater trilogy. The entire thing is finished now. All 50 episodes, one chapter an episode, through all 3 books. It's very fun. You can find that at youtube.com/thriftingtonpost, THRIFTINGTONPOST, all one word.
And as always,
to be continued.
Yeah, to be continued. I've never came up with a good sign off.
Well, we'll figure one out one of these days.
We finally figured out when we're in prison for life.
We'll have a hell of a lot of time to think about it then. Yeah, on Fishing with Crendor, his sign-off is always to tell the guest, I really don't have a good sign-off. And I'm like, God damn it, Crendor, you have the best sign-off ever, which is like this, the way he says see ya. It's like, see ya. It's like, that's it, that's your sign-off. You finish it with that. Be like, okay, see ya. And do that. Just sign off on the Fishing with Crendor with that, like you do all your other episodes and podcasts. But he doesn't want to, so he just sort of babbles a bit about how I don't really have a sign off here.
Hey, he's doing something right. He's got followers.
Oh yeah, he has a shit ton of followers, and he gets like, what do you call it? Famous people to come on his show and fish with him.
Well, there you go, guys. That's our show.
Be sure to watch Fishing with Crendor. It's more popular than us.
And I don't know, man. Keep your emergency basement stockpiled with food and water.